The concept of third worldism does make a lot of sense on the face value of it. It explains why you don't see revolutionary base areas, at least no serious ones, anywhere in the first world. It's the idea that revolution cannot happen, or is highly unlikely to happen, in the first world at the present time. That because of imperialism, the bourgeoisie have extracted super profits and have bought off the first world proletariat. This idea might seem intuitive at first, but it suffers from many mistakes. One of them is that it assumes class collaborationism. That is, that the bourgeoisie and the proletariat can enter into a collaboration with each other. One takes care of the other. Third worldism has this type of pseudo-class collaborationist idea that the first world proletariat has entered into a collaboration with the first world bourgeoisie, which give them benefits. However, a core aspect of capitalism is the profit motive. You need to sell more products, you need to make more money. Capital must expand. This means that the incentive to exploit the third world is equally as present in the first world. While it may not seem like many people are exploited, the first world does suffer from clear problems of exploitation. Wages, for example, have not risen with workers' productivity, and there are workplaces, such as in Amazon and in Tesla, where workers do suffer clear exploitation like that of the third world. No matter how much you exploit from the third world, you can exploit that and more from the first world. And since capital seeks to expand and satisfy the ever-growing need of profit, the first world will also suffer exploitation. The second problem I'm going to deal with is it misunderstands how revolution takes place in advanced capitalist countries. Many third worldists also call themselves Maoists. They're heavily influenced by the writings of Mao. Mao saw that this idea of trade unionism and capturing the cities first, then the countrysides, was not working in China. So he flipped the idea on its head. Instead of engaging in an illegal struggle, you first engage in an outright revolutionary struggle first. Ironically, third worldists are doing the exact same thing that the idealists in China are doing, but in the reverse. They're trying to apply semi-feudal, semi-colonial revolutionary efforts and tactics to the first world. But the way revolution happens in the third world is completely different than how revolution happens in the first world. And ironically, you can see this in the writings of Mao. Internally, capitalist countries practice bourgeois democracy, not feudalism, when they are not fascist and not at war in their external relations. They are not oppressed by, but themselves oppress other nations. Because of these characteristics, it is the task of the party of the proletariat in capitalist countries to educate the workers and build up strength through a long period of legal struggle, and thus prepare for the final overthrow of capitalism. In these countries, the question is one of a long legal struggle, of utilizing parliament as a platform, of economic and political strikes, of organizing trade unions and educating the workers. There, the form of organization is legal, and the form of struggle is bloodless, non-military. On the issue of war, the communist parties in the capitalist countries oppose imperialist wars waged by their own countries. If such wars occur, the policy of these parties is to bring about the defeat of the reactionary governments in their own countries. The one war they want to fight is the civil war for which they are preparing. Oftentimes, these struggles will be dismissed. How many times have you seen third worldists see the struggle for example, the minimum wage as, well, that's not outright struggle, so it's useless. But that fails to understand that the task of the first world is to build up to revolution. Instead of one long, protracted revolutionary war, there is a long, protracted legal war, which builds up to revolution. In semi-colonial, semi-feudal nations, since no democracy exists, but is under feudal oppression, and that her external relations she has no national independence, but is oppressed by imperialism, it follows we have no parliament to make use of, and no legal right to organize the workers to strike. So, in these nations, the tasks of revolution are reversed. One of the core points of the third worldist idea is ignoring what Mao said here, that there is no education of workers. All type of political and legal struggles are meaningless. Although calling themselves Maoist, they outright contradict Mao. Looking at it this way, you can see politicians such as Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez being a step in the right direction. It's not a leap forward, but it is moving the political consciousness further to the left. Social democracy, as it stands, looks perfect in theory. No need for revolution, no need for scary socialism. We could still have all the benefits of socialism. Once social democracy takes hold, and it becomes apparent the class struggle still exists, that even with a minimum wage, you still have the bourgeois making up for it in other ways. Once people see that social democracy is a failure, it will move the political consciousness of the masses. Dialectically, we know that since the quantity of capitalism is different, the quality of revolutionary struggle will be different. It's a category mistake to see the quantity of capitalism and the quality of revolutionary struggle in the third world and apply that universally to the first world.